Hello and welcome, guys, back to another episode of Sports with Sunshine. I hope you guys are having an incredible evening. And guys, we've got a lot to break down, but thank you to the Sports Lounge Media for powering Sports with Sunshine and making it exactly what it is, the best NFL and Eagles page on the app, the best show on the waves. Guys, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, the Mobile Brand and the Diamond Collection, for being what they are to make the Sports Lounge Media happen. And guys, what is the Sports Lounge Media? It is the premier place to get any and all sports information, whether that be the NFL, the NHL, the MLB, you name it, the Sports Lounge covers it. Guys, we've got a lot to dive into tonight. I do want to say thank you to each and every one of you that are coming out tonight to come talk with me in the comments, or whether you're watching the stream back, just drop in the comments some of your favorite things. I love talking with you guys and really getting into things, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk a little bit about the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback 30 battle situation, Trey Hendrickson, and Terry McLaurin as he pertains to the Washington Commanders. If you guys enjoy these videos, I need you to hit the like button, subscribe, and tap that bell button so you never miss a second of Sports with Sunshine. Thank you guys so much. And without further ado, let's really get into it, huh? First up, you, of course, got the Trey Hendrickson saga. It continues out in Cincinnati. Oh my goodness, I had a brain fart. It seems like they're not coming to common ground on Trey Hendrickson. The numbers are not matching where they want them to, and it seems in all likelihood that Trey Hendrickson is probably on his way out of Cincinnati. Now, whether or not that is a for sure thing remains to be seen. I mean, maybe they fix something or get something going towards the end, but it's not seeming like it, guys. They've been battling for months since the preseason started, and I just don't really understand, right? You're looking at a Bengals team that came off a horrible year in terms of their defensive capabilities, and arguably Trey Hendrickson is the best player on that defense, right? And without improved defensive play, the Cincinnati Bengals are not going to be competing for championships. I get it. You have Joe Burrow. You have Jamar Chase. You have T. Higgins. You have Chase Brown. You have all these offensive weapons and pieces. But when you're winning games 40-43, 50-53, 60-63, it's just not sustainable. I mean, we look a year ago, the Bengals were one game out from making the playoffs, and that's with Joe Burrow willing them to the playoffs because they just didn't have any kind of defensive presence. I think that Trey Hendrickson does make that defensive presence for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's kind of a mystery to me why he has not already been signed. A lot of people will go and say, well, it's because he's 30, he's asking for too much money. Guys, keep in mind, TJ Watt is up there in age. Myles Garrett, obviously, he's in a class of his own, but he's up there in age. This is a guy, we're not talking about some Joe Schmo, right? We're talking about a guy that was back-to-back NFL sack leaders, making him extremely valuable to a team that really wasn't great at anything except getting after the quarterback. You know, when Trey Hendrickson is on the field, you have a bona fide pass rusher, a guy that can help in run support. You have a defensive weapon, and they've already lost a few other defensive weapons as it has pertained to this next upcoming season. So I think that if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, you have to want Trey Hendrickson to come back to Cincinnati. I don't understand why they're letting him go, because if he goes, you're basically banking and hoping that young Shamar Stewart, who, by the way, just signed his contract, so I'm sure there's a little bit of, friction there. He just signed his contract, so you're hoping he kind of pans out. But will he be the pass rusher that Trey Hendrickson is? I don't think so. I think that you bet on the guy that you know can already get it done. It's not like, I don't think Trey Hendrickson's asking to break the bank. He just wants a little bit of guaranteed money, a little bit of security. I understand he's 30 years old, but he's still producing at an all-pro, all sack leader level. And I think that deserves to be paid. And I think a lot of Cincinnati Bengals fans are going to agree with me. Let me know in the comments, guys. Does Trey Hendrickson deserve to be paid? Is he a guy that the Cincinnati Bengals want to make sure is on this team? Because without him, what is this defense going to look like? And right now, there are teams waiting in the wings. These just below, 3 examples of teams that have the phones dialing. The Colts. Could you imagine him paired with DeForest Buckner in the weak AFC South? He would cause havoc on some of those quarterbacks, right? You have Buckner at the 3, you put him at the 5, all of a sudden you've got a mean defensive line in Indianapolis. You look at the Cleveland Browns. They have the best pass rusher, the best overall defensive player in football in Myles Garrett. I mean, I don't think that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to trade within the division, but if they did, that defense would be terrifying. And year in and year out, the Browns have a sustainable defense with 2 of the best pass rushers in football. That would be an absolute problem. Although I don't know that the Cincinnati Bengals deal within the division. Next up, the Panthers, a team that is on the rise, that has added a lot of young talent in that defensive roster. Now, while I think the Panthers are a little bit of a long shot, because I do think that Trey Hendrickson wants to stay in Ohio because he loves the state, and I think he does want to be on a competitive team. Now, while I do think the Panthers are going to be better, their guys are not a playoff team yet. The Bengals are a brink playoff team. The Panthers are not there yet. But other teams that need defensive help, the Houston Texans, you look at that defensive line, pairing him with Will Anderson and some of those interior guys. I just think that he could do a lot of damage in the AFC South, and that's why AFC South teams are calling it. Now, Eagles fans, I already know, we've seen the rumors that the Eagles are going to be a great fit for Hendrickson. We're not going to go after Trey Hendrickson. The roster that you see is the roster that you're going to get. I know that we just, did a trade with the Houston Texans for Mechie, and obviously we might still go out and get some corner help, but I don't think that Trey Hendrickson is in the cards for the Philadelphia Eagles, partially because I just don't know how you pay him and Jalen Carter. So I would probably scratch that. The Lions are another destination where I could see Trey Hendrickson being of value. I think he would fit in very, very nicely with Dan Campbell and that culture that they have over there. But all in all, I think that if you're the Bengals front office, you need to make it a point to get this guy back in the building. I think he just adds way too much to the team to be let go. But at the end of the day, the Bengals have never been the most sound organization, so they are going to do what they're going to do. I am interested to see what you guys think in the comments. If you think Trey should stay, drop it in the comments. If you don't, let me know why. Let's have a little bit of a debate, guys. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe if you're enjoying these videos, and turn that bell on. But guys, that's going to take us to our next segment, and we're going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles a little bit, because guys, we have a little bit of a quarterback battle going on, right? So obviously we know Tanner McKee is quarterback 2. Okay, him sitting out in the second preseason game all but solidifies the fact that he is quarterback 2. He had an incredible game against the Bengals, 20 of 25, 253 yards, two touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground, 0 interceptions, and an incredible passer rating. Tanner locked down quarterback 2 with that game right there. Enter McCord, the kid we just drafted from Syracuse, and DTR, a guy that we just picked up from the Browns. I think that both of these guys are right now kind of battling for that QB3 spot, and neither of them have played particularly well within their systems. I know that McCord had the better day yesterday than DTR did, or on Saturday, than DTR did, but I don't think it was by much. I think that this next preseason game is really going to determine which of these two guys can run the offense that's being asked the best, because you got to keep in perspective that Kevin Patullo brings a brand new skill set, a brand new asking price to this offense. And I think that when you're looking at both of these guys, they're learning it just like everybody else is. And I think that, right now, if I had to give it to somebody, I would probably lean Kyle McCord, only because I think he's made more impressive throws than DTR had. DTR looked very, very, very confused in the game on Saturday. He made some poor decisions that I really think might hurt his position on this team. It's a battle right now, guys, though. Don't make no mistake about it. I don't think that Kyle McCord's running away with the quarterback 3 spot. And obviously, if you're an Eagle, these are first world problems, because we already have Jalen and Tanner. But between these two, I'm leaning Kyle McCord. I am interested in what you guys think about the quarterback 3 battle, because it matters, guys. Injuries happen. God forbid. You need to have a guy ready to go. As it stands right now, though, Kyle McCord seems to have the better grip on the offense. He has a better connection with some of these young receivers. And I think that, in terms of QB3, I would lean Kyle McCord. But the Eagles have been hard at work. Today, we just initiated a trade for John Mechie III from the Houston Texans, where we sent them Bryson Harrison and a 5th-round draft pick, while we received a 6th-round draft pick and John Mechie III. I think that that's a great pickup, but it was a little confusing to some Eagles fans, because at the end of the day, the receiving room is already pretty competitive. You have A.J. Brown, you have Devontae Smith, you have Jahan Dotson. Those are the 3 off the rip. Last season, we only kept 5 receivers. Are we going to branch out to 6? Because Darius Cooper has been incredible to camp this far. I do think that he deserves a roster spot. Johnny Wilson's hands have been shown off. Maybe he, adds a little bit of beef and bumps into the tight end room. I think he could do a lot of damage there, but that's another video for another day. Anais Smith has been a bit underwhelming, if I'm going to be honest. I think he's got to play a little bit better, especially with John Mechie entering this receiving core, because if not, I just don't know. There's a world where, Anais gets in over Mechie, and then all of a sudden you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, Mechie, Darius Cooper, and Johnny Wilson as your 6. And that's if we keep 6. We could only do 5 like we did a year ago. But time will tell, guys. There's a lot going on within the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of people are still a little bit shaky on that cornerback 2 spot. I thought Bennett took steps in this last game. to kind of get there and kind of take that cornerback 2 spot. Keely Ringo still hasn't done anything that lets me know, hey, I'm cornerback 2. So I think that he still has a whole lot to prove in terms of taking over that cornerback 2 spot. So at the end of the day, it's not decided. I think him, Adoree', and Bennett are going to battle it out, and it's going to come down to who Vic Fangio feels like gives us the best opportunity to win. Maybe we see Cooper DeJean there a little bit in the regular season in that cornerback 2 spot. But Andrew Mukuba flashed brilliance. He showed why a lot of us Eagles fans that really keep up with camp and the team are not worried about the safety position. Thought Sidney Brown did some good things, but at times he looked like he over pursued a little bit in run support, and I would have liked to see him be a little bit more backed off. But at the end of the day, I thought Andrew Mukuba showed exactly what he's capable of. Now, did he have some plays where he got beat? Absolutely. But he's a rookie. That's going to happen. I think that after this one game, even though he didn't play last week because we all know he was battling the shoulder injury, I think he really did solidify himself as a starting safety in the secondary. I think that he could go right now, and we would not have to be that worried about it. But time will tell. Sidney Brown's obviously still competing for that spot. Loved what I've seen from Mukuba. Loving what I'm seeing from the linebacking core. Jod Campbell's still doing a lot of good things on the defensive front. The defensive line, the edges were a lot better, which was something I personally, when me and DP talked about it on Friday, that was something I wanted to see, was the edge room be a little bit more aggressive. Thought Ojulari had one of his best games so far in terms of what he brought to the table. And from what I understand, he's had some pretty underwhelming practices. Thought he did a great job in the game getting pressure off the edge. It was a really, really fun game to watch. Obviously, didn't go the way we wanted it to. We lost, but at the end of the day, we tell you guys all the time, these games aren't really about winning or losing. They're about seeing what you have on the depth pieces, the depth chart, and I think we're kind of secure in every area but that cornerback 2 spot, at least as it pertains right now. I think that, we'll see how camp progresses. We still have one more preseason game to kind of decide QB3, CB2, and who's going to get the majority of the reps at starting safety. But Eagles fans, I also don't think we're done trading yet. It looks like we're going to be trying to shop some other players, so don't be surprised if Howie Roseman pulls another last-second trade before everything gets rocking and rolling for the regular season. But I am interested. Who do you guys think will be quarterback 3 between DTR and Kyle McCord? Who do you want to be quarterback 3? Also, you could talk a little bit about that cornerback 2 spot. I know that worries some people. Let's get active in the chat, guys, and if you're enjoying these videos, like, subscribe, turn the bell on. You will never miss a second of Sports with Sunshine. I appreciate you guys so much, and I do want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, the Mogul brand and the Diamond Collection, for making the Sports Lounge media what it is, and thank you to the Sports Lounge for powering Sports with Sunshine so that I can bring you all these great NFL shows. Guys, we're going to be getting rock and rolling on Fridays with DP. Things are going, and I want you all to be a part of it. And that's going to kind of bring us to our last segment of the night, guys, and that is Terry McLaurin. Oh, it messed up my thing. Hold on. Let me fix that real quick. My apologies. There we are. Terry McLaurin. The hold-in Washington is officially over, it seems. He's been taken off the PUP list, meaning that he can now participate in team activities. And while he has not come to an agreement on a contract extension, this is a really big step in the right direction if you're a Commanders fan, because this means that contract negotiations are at least moving now. And for the longest time, Terry McLaurin has kind of been in a really, really big standoff with the front office of the Washington Commanders. After, the offseason started, Terry McLaurin expressed interest in having a contract extension. Those negotiations haven't really taken place until just now recently. And now it seems like, there's some people that have been saying that Terry McLaurin was maybe asking for a little bit too much at his age, that Jamar Chase 34 a year kind of money. And I mean, you're just not going to get that at this point in time with the current age that you are. But I do think that Terry McLaurin is extremely important to what the Washington Commanders are trying to do. Without him, you have to rely only on Debo. Zach Ertz is a little bit older. And then outside of that, who does the Commanders have that can be a bona fide, reliable target, right? We've seen what it looks like when Debo Samuel tries to do it all on his own, and it's not pretty. I think that you need your all-pro, 6-7-time, 1,000-yard receiver in Terry McLaurin to make that offense hum. I think that he's, a comfortable target for Jaden Daniels, and he's a good football player, guys, widely recognized as a top 10 receiver in the league. Scary Terry is definitely one of those guys that makes the Washington Commanders offense a little bit more terrifying, specifically in the pass game. And I just love his matchups with Q anyway. So I hope that this is a step in the right direction, because the Commanders, whether Commanders fans want to admit it or not, he helps the team in such a crucial way. Without him, that offense is not going to operate at the clip they want it to operate. And I thought that in the offseason, the Washington Commanders made a lot of different steps to make the offense better. You bring in Larry Tunsil. You bring in a couple other guys in the receiving corner, and Deebo Samuels. I thought that they got better offensively, which can kind of be a little bit intimidating because they were already really good offensively a year ago. I think they're going to be even better now. While the defense is still a little bit of a question, I think that offensively, the Commanders have the opportunity to be one of the better offenses in football, especially if their number one guy comes back. So this is a little bit, more heartening for Commanders fans because it shows that Terry McLaurin is now at least willing to be in contract negotiations and actually participate in team activities because, guys, we are 2 weeks away from the regular season kickoff against the Dallas Cowboys on September 4th. I mean, it's starting to get down to that crunch time where if Terry McLaurin doesn't have a contract, is he going to be a Washington Commander? Are they going to dole him out? I don't think so. I think of all the current, contract drama, this is probably the safest bet to say he's going to be a Commander again. And I think that, like I've been saying, the Commanders need him to be. And I'm interested in what Commanders fans think, guys. Drop it in the chat, the text box. Is Terry McLaurin a necessity, or can they dish him out and rely on Deebo Samuels? Interested to what the fan base thinks. But, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to come on here and kind of hit these different points with you. In the regular season, it will look a little bit different. We'll be doing breakdowns of the Monday night game. We'll be doing recaps and previews of the Eagles, me and DP on Fridays. And we'll be bringing you top 5 power rankings, top 5 lists. You name it, Sports with Sunshine is going to cover it. We are going to go in-depth in the regular season. And I want each and every one of you to be a part of it. And to do that, like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a second of the action. Go over to www.sportsloungemedia.com and subscribe to all the different great shows and subscribe to the Sports Lounge because you'll see me on there sometimes and you don't want to miss these videos, guys. It is going to be an incredible season. It is upon us. I do want to say thank you to each and every one of you that decide to come out and watch this show and get active in the chat box. You guys make this so incredibly fun. It doesn't feel like work at all. I've had so much fun getting into it, guys, and I'm ready for the regular season to go. As for now, the show is over. I appreciate you guys. I will see you on Friday where me and DP are going to continue to break down the NFL. More will be released as the week goes on all my socials. Make sure you check us out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and obviously on the Sports Lounge Media. Thank you guys so much. Have an incredible rest of your night. And as always, go Birds.